Imagine, for a moment, that time opens before you like a vast portal. A leap not of centuries, nor of millennia, but of millions of years. For a million years ago, the Earth was not the planet we know today. The landscape was at once wild, primitive, and grand, a stage in constant transformation, where the forces of nature slowly shaped the world that would one day shelter human civilization. The atmosphere was heavy with dust, heat, and humidity across different regions. Dense forests stretched over some continents, while wide, open savannas were beginning to expand in others. Mountains roared, rivers redrew their courses, and volcanoes cast fire upon lands still being formed. The planet was in the midst of a geological metamorphosis, like a titan breathing, moving continents upon restless tectonic plates. And in this epic setting, the creatures roaming the earth were as grand as they were enigmatic. Mammals of immense proportions dominated prairies and forests, while sharp-toothed predators ruled with cunning strength. There were no cities, no human language, no domesticated fire. Yet life pulsed in every corner. Birds cut across the skies, ancestors of cats and dogs prowled in the shadows, and colossal herbivores roamed the plains in vast herds. That it was in this remote time that the very first steps of our story began to be traced. Not the steps of humanity as we know it, but of our most distant ancestors, bipedal creatures who, for the first time, dared to rise on two legs. They were the Australopithecus, pioneers of the evolutionary path that would one day lead us to reason, to culture, and to writing. They lived in small groups, vulnerable before beasts, yet they possessed something that already set them apart: the spark of adaptation. They knew how to use their hands not only to survive, but to explore, to touch, to experiment. Their eyes watched the world with an instinctive curiosity, and their legs carried them farther and farther, forging paths between forests and open fields. Life for these beings was harsh, defined by the daily struggle for food and the constant threat of predators. Days were spent searching for roots, fruits, seeds, and insects. Nights brought the fear of darkness, where the roar of great felines reminded them of their fragility. They had no weapons, no safe shelter other than the unity of the group. And yet, in the starlit silence of the African night, there already existed the seed of humanity, the capacity to endure, to learn, and to persist. The planet itself was a living organism in motion. The African savannas, cradle of humankind, expanded as the climate changed, forcing human ancestors to leave the forests and adapt to open terrain. That simple shift shaped evolution. The need to walk long distances, to raise the head high, to spot predators from afar, to unite as one to survive. What seemed like a mere adaptation was, in truth, the beginning of Earth's greatest journey. The rise of humankind 0.4 million years ago. The world was brutal and unforgiving, yet also grand and fertile. Every tree, every current of water, every shadow held both danger and opportunity. It was on this epic, wild, and magnificent stage that the first chapters of human history began to be written. Not with words, but with footsteps. Footsteps that would echo through time until they reached you, here and now, heir to a saga that began long before the first civilizations, long before fire, long before the very idea of history. This was the world of 4 million years ago, a planet in transformation, where humanity's destiny was still no more than a spark. But it was there, among beasts and forests, that the future began to awaken.